Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
What's going on YouTube? This is Sleeky Ratings back at with another video, and this is actually going to be a different video than what I usually do. Today I'm going to be talking about The Electric State. Just recently came out. It's a Netflix original, great film, but I'm not going to do any spoilers, right? I'm not going to go super in depth with it. I'm just going to give you my takes on it and do I think you should see it. Short answer is yes. I definitely think you should see it. It's one of those movies where, and I wouldn't be spoiling anything if you watch the trailer or what have you, but basically it's a robot movie, right? It's essentially, robots taking over, humans then taking it over, and now they are oppressing the robots. Okay, we've seen this before. I mean, you got iRobot, you got Ready Player One, Spy Kids 3. So it's about a virtual reality situation, right? Long story short, they're robots. Humans are like, holy crap, these robots are too independent. They try to take over, a war breaks out, so humans make this virtual reality style robot, takes them over, surprise, surprise, humans are now greedy and that consumes their life, and now people do it, and then Millie Bobby Brown being the main character, along with Chris Pratt, they have to try to rectify the situation. Overall, like I said, it's a great film. If I had to honestly think about it, so for example, one of my top movies that I love, it's definitely in the conversation, at least top 20, maybe even top 10, depending on the scenario, depending on the genre, but Ready Player One, for example. Ready Player One was an astounding film because it was just like all about virtual reality. Stuff we as kids, especially when we played games like Call of Duty and what have you, like it'd be so cool to like live in that virtual reality, like based upon how much money you have and what things you could do, you could race, all the stuff you see in Ready Player One. They added that twist where if you find the treasure, in the end you get all the money in real life. Well, in those kind of virtual reality games, always the big con would be, would it consume people's lives? Like that's the question that would always, you would have to ask yourself, right? Like we have like Apple VR headset now, we have Oculus, that kind of thing, but obviously it's not on the same level as like what you see in Ready Player One, Spy Kids 3, because they do that virtual reality thing too, if you remember, or such as this film, The Electric State. But point is, looking at all those films and comparing them and thinking about them while I'm watching this film, this takes like a more realistic approach. Like if I had to imagine like, if a real life scenario would occur, I feel like The Electric State, that's how it would go. With a robots taking over or like people getting greedy. I mean, you see that in Ready Player One, right? The CEO who created the game, he's like, he dies, but he leaves his big treasure behind, and then the new CEO is like, oh, we gotta get that treasure so I can get all this money. Like, so there's greediness to it, but realistically, the fight scenes, realistically, the comedy, the sadness, there's a lot of, it's a roller coaster of emotions in this film, folks. Netflix has been stepping up their game a lot, okay? Like, for example, this film, Electric State, it was a great film, and it's a Netflix original. Like, I feel like I'm conflicted, right? Because on one hand, I'm like, Netflix, stop raising your prices. But on the other hand, I'm like, okay, as long as you make good content, I'm okay with that. Now, granted, in 2025, things are getting expensive. Let's not raise it too much. I totally get it, though. They're trying to make more content, more original Netflix originals. I mean, you have a bunch of good shows: Lucifer, Stranger Things, You, Cobra Kai, at least making them Netflix originals that are just fantastic. So they're also going in the movie thing because originally I always thought Netflix was good at making TV shows, right? Like where you would go to HBO Max, now called Max, you would go there for the movies. You would go to Netflix for shows and stuff. But now Netflix is stepping up their game with movies too. I mean, they obviously get different types of movies on there, but they're Netflix original movies like Murder Mystery, Spencer Confidential, you got The Electric State, you got Red Notice. Like they have actually a pretty good, they're starting to make a pretty good list of movies as well. But again, like I still think at the end of the day, their TV shows trump their movies, original movies. They're doing a great job. Netflix is getting huge with their docu series, all those crime documentaries that we all love watching and whatnot. Making this movie like The Electric State, I was actually really thrilled to see because I'm like, okay, they're really stepping up their game of movies. And again, they have a bunch of other good movies. My only point behind it was I'm just glad they are stepping up that game. Just because, we're starting to pay more and more of these higher prices on Netflix, especially if you have like the premium one like we do, so we don't have the ad. I'll tell you right now, ads are super annoying. I'm just glad to see it. And then going back to the film, Electric State, like I said, it's super realistic. Lines in there are pretty, like they insert comedy in a good way, right? Like there's definitely sad parts into it, but like I feel like sometimes they drop comedy once in a while, which is good because a lot of movies like Disney, they kind of overdo it with the comedy. I think sometimes, like in one of the newest stores, it was an okay film. They put comedy in it way too much. Like, bro, when is this gonna be like an action movie? Like, it's like they still have action in it, but I feel like the comedy always takes away some of the action, right? Just because they have to have a funny line in there. Like, no, you don't, dude. Really? Like, can we just move on? This one has a couple of comedy pieces in it, which I thought was cool, but overall, it's mainly action. It's mainly, you know, action. It has some emotions behind it. There's a bunch of iconic characters in the movie. Like, for example, Ready Player One. Ready Player One had people like the Iron Giant in it. I think they had Iron Man in it. I don't know, but they had a bunch of those movie game. They had a bunch of those video game like characters, the reality universe, because it's a video game, right? So you put the headset on, you go into a virtual reality video game. So they had a bunch of iconic video game characters that if you played games you would know. Tetris was in it, etc. This movie did a bunch of iconic characters too, which was really cool, but it was like more realistic in the sense that you would see in every day. Like, for example, like I said, I won't spoil too much, but Mr. Peanut is in it, and that's honestly probably my favorite character, played by Woody Harrelson. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I just thought it was a cool little neat thing to have. But again, they have other characters in there you might recognize. But yeah, overall, great film. I definitely give that like I give that 8.5 out of 10 on the Sleeky rating, just because of the fact that in the beginning it is kind of slow, which is pretty ironic for me to say because, as you guys know, I love backstories. I love the character build-up, which is what they do. When you do a backstory, you can either do it too slow or you can do it just right. Most of the time, movies do it just right, but sometimes it's just a tiny bit too slow. You know what I mean? Like a little bit. Two prime examples. I love both these films, but one of the cons I would say is, for example, Scarface. In the beginning, a little bit too slow for me, man. Like it's starting to build, and it doesn't like the big action stuff or the big, not just action, the big emotional, suspenseful stuff that you get is not like until middle end, etc. Or a big example I always remember to this day is Peter Jackson's King Kong. That's a 3-hour and 15-minute film, and literally half of it is just character build up and like suspense build up. Again, great film. I'm not going to deny that by any stretch because there's a lot of good actors in it. But, oh, well, I tell you guys, seeing that film in the theater and like half of it is this character build, but it's not at the right speed, Lord have mercy. Again, still a great film. I'm just saying that was one of the movies that took it a little slow. So same goes with this. Let me preface by saying it's not that slow because it's like only like a 2-hour movie. I say only 2 hours, but I feel like a lot of movies have been like an hour and a half recently. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I think Electric State did a great job. I just think right in the beginning it was a little too slow, but maybe I'm just being nitpicky because I feel like nothing's perfect. So there has to be a con somewhere, right? But yeah, overall, great film. Like I said, 8.5, it's solid. As far as like those robot movies go, I think I still like Ready Player One better than this. But one, this is a Netflix original, which is really, really cool. So I don't know if the budget was the same as the other ones. I really didn't look into that. We just got done watching it. I'm coming here now filming this. I also love the fact that it's more realistic. It's not as in depth or it's not as much as, for example, say Ready Player One. I, Robot is another robot movie that you might be thinking of if you're watching this, but it's different concept, way different concept. Overall, great film. Yeah. That's going to be it for today, guys. Comment down below if you've seen this film, and I would love to hear about your experience with it, and let me know if you agree or disagree with my rating of the film. Drop a like down below to let me know that if you like this video or not, and hit that subscribe and bell to be notified about future in-depth videos coming out. That would show great support to me, and I'd greatly appreciate it and it would help out the channel. That's it for today, guys. Take care. I'm out. See ya.